So I'm not Kathy Sexton, but I'm going to be talking on behalf of Kathy Sexton. I hope I do half as good a job as she would have done in telling you about this new resource that we've developed at Fathers Network Scotland. It's called Summer Family Adventure, and essentially it's a free resource pack, and we'll explain how you can get your hands on it and so on to support families during the summer weeks. And I know that some of you have started your holidays already, and I'll tell you a little bit about what it. Goodness me, I've now got children bothering me. I'll tell you a little bit about what it involves for parents and how you can support them to use the resource. So, jumping ahead now. So, I'm going to talk a little bit about why play is important, and I think that a lot of you that are here today probably have a really good grasp on just how important play is. But just as a little reminder and maybe as a little bit of an impetus to kind of help parents think about how important play is. And I mean, it's something that's embedded within our play strategy is every child's right. Every child has a fundamental right to play, and it's recognised by the UNCRC. It's something that we need to be actively applying across everywhere, really, but thinking about Scotland in particular, we want every child in Scotland to get that opportunity to play. And so I'm going to ask you a question which I really do wish Kathy was here, because I'm afraid I'm going to have to kind of slightly wing this bit, but Kathy was wanting to ask you, what happens when you tickle a rat? So I can't see the chat box, so either if Susan or Beverly could tell me what's in the chat box, what people are saying. What do you think happens when you tickle a rat? Any ideas? Is anybody coming up with any thoughts?
Nothing in the chat. Oh, there's so something's in the rat laughs.
The rat laughs. Rats do. Rats giggle when you tickle them, apparently, which some of you may find quite charming. Others may find a little bit disturbing. I'm probably in the latter category, I have to say. Although I did know somebody once who had pet rats and they loved them, so there we are. But rats giggle when you tickle them. They make a kind of chirping noise, apparently. It generates joyful feelings. It's highly addictive. And what I'm going to do just now is show you a little film all about rats giggling. So if you give me a second, just to...
It's a tricky thing to study a brain at play. For one thing, you can't use human brains. Not many parents would sign up to have their kids' brain fiddled with. But rats? They're a different story. One of the main scientists who studies play in rats is a guy named Jaak Panksepp. Some people also know him as the rat tickler. You'll find out why a little later.
Every human being knows what play is. Every child knows what play is. I can recognize it in a snap. The problem was, can you bring that into the laboratory?
Jaak wanted to know where in the brain play comes from. Is it a learned activity that's developed in the outer cortex, the most recently evolved part of the brain? Or is it a basic, ancient function of the bottom part, like eating and sleeping and sex? Jaak came up with a pretty straightforward way to answer that question. What he did was surgically remove the cortex from the brains of young rats, and then he waited to see if they still wanted to play with their full-brained friends. They did! They tussled and wrestled just like normal rats, and that's essentially what rat play is.
It's like professional wrestling. Why do people enjoy professional wrestling? It's all theater, we know that, but we still enjoy it.
The rats would even chase a human hand that had played with them, hoping for more play. And that is how the rat tickler got his name.
I had 2 young kids that loved tickle games, so I just, made it smaller for a rat.
Since even rats missing the most highly evolved layer of their brains sought out play, the experiment showed that the play impulse must have come from a deep and primitive part of the brain, one that's most likely shared with all mammals and lots of other animals too. To be in such an ancient place in the brain, Jaak and others think play must be vital to survival. Otherwise, the playful rats would have died off a long time ago. Playing rats would presumably make easier prey for watchful predators. But they didn't die off. Instead, they thrived. Why? Scientists still disagree about that, but Yak and a lot of others think that the reason play exists is because it develops what in humans we might call social skills.
As soon as you begin to play, you begin to learn about the social world.
Yak's rats are learning about the give and take of interactions and finding out where the limits are. Play may be the mechanism that allows animals to learn to live in social groups and to navigate complex hierarchies and social situations.
Play is a very valuable, it's not just superfluous, it's a very valuable thing for child development. And we as a culture have to learn how to use it properly, and we have to make sure our kids get plenty of it.
Yak Panksepp witnessed what might be the best anecdotal evidence for his theory when he watched what happened in the lab when 2 boy rats were put in a room with a single girl rat. The one boy rat who had had lots of play growing up was basically the rat version of George Clooney. The other guy didn't stand a chance.
There you are. If rats didn't freak you out, and if giggling rats didn't freak you out, then a rat with a beard at the very end there, I'm pretty sure that must have got you by now. So, okay, so I'm just going to go back to the PowerPoint just now.
So I'm not quite sure what Chris has said to you, obviously, because I was offline, but that was a film about our brains at play and what happens when you tickle a rat. And it's all kind of new learning to me, actually, but it seems so important to me also. So I don't know whether you caught that in the film, but essentially what they're saying is that this drive to play happens in a very, very ancient part of the brain of rats and all mammals. And they think probably lots more animals to boot. So it's not just mammals, it's not just humans, it's kind of, birds have shown that they play as well. So all sorts of animals play, which seems kind of weird to me that this is part of, if you can move on actually, Chris. This seems kind of weird that it's part of this ancient emotional system. And this guy, Yak Panksepp, who was in that clip, has discovered 7 affective systems. So they're emotional systems within the brain. So there's a seeking, which enables us to go out and look for things in the world. Fear goes without saying. Rage is that anger that overtakes us. Lust or sexual excitement. That caring, nurturing impulse, particularly that mothers have with their baby, so that real emotional bond. Also panic and grief. But to me, it sounds incredible, but play is one of these 7 sort of core emotional aspects of all mammals. And I was like, well, why is it so important? Why is it necessary survival to have play? And I think I'm just going to go on and speak about that a little bit. So play is absolutely crucial in developing our social skills. That's what we did. That's what we use it for. I think that historically, the idea of play, why kittens play with balls of wool or why puppies chase each other around, has always been about, well, is it a prey drive? Is it that they're running after something, trying to catch them? But actually, what Panksepp and now lots of other scientists are saying is this urge to play is actually more about our social interaction with each other. It's about building the bonds that we have with each other as a group. And the more socially interactive we are, so rats are really, really socially interactive, the more play that we need. And we as humans are very, very social animals, and we've got these really complex social situations. So play becomes a really intense urge around about age 2. And by about 6, most children have developed enough sort of cortical inhibition, so the bit at the front of your brain, to inhibit it so you can actually sit still. But between about 2 and 6, most kids just want to play. And it's really, really important. So that the drive to play is developing these neocortex. So it's this ancient part of the brain is connecting up with the front part of our brain, which helps us develop all these social skills. And as it says at the bottom there, play is remarkably similar across species. So rats do it, monkeys do it, children do it. So they all have rules and they take it in turns to do things. And play is fair and they don't inflict pain. And if any of those things stop happening, so if you're a play person, you inflict pain on someone else, then the play will stop and nobody has any fun. And because play is so utterly addictive, so again, as the little short video showed, that if a researcher tickles a mouse for a long time, then their desire to play is such that the rat will chase after the researcher's hand to get more play, to do more fun stuff. And the same is true with humans interacting together. The desire to play, this kind of urge to play, is really, really addictive. So anyway, if anything stops it, then the play stops and it's no fun. So there's a real urge there. So as I said, it's part of this emotional system, and when kids play, their brains build new circuits in the prefrontal cortex, and it helps them navigate complex social interactions. And all of the rest of the play, it seems like from the research that we're doing at the moment, all the rest of the types of object play and imaginative play are built on this really ancient kind of system that's right in the center of our brains. So if we elicit that playful, joyful play activity, then we'll start to learn. It will come naturally. It is our brain's natural way of learning. So we keep going then, Chris. So obviously we're from Fathers Network Scotland, and there's an interesting kind of interlude here. So kids want to play with each other. They have this urge between 2 and 6 to really play hard. And there's a difference between mums and dads. So Anna Macken, who is an amazing researcher, she's from Oxford Brookes University, recently did a talk with us, and then I read her book cover to cover, which is all about the importance of dads. And she makes the case that the difference, I think that the research is fairly clear now, that there's a difference between what mums do as parents and what dads do as parents. So mums very much are the parent that holds the child into them. So their attachment is about affection and nurture. So they hold the child in and they make sure that child feels utterly loved and enveloped. And if you can go on again, Chris. So that's slightly in contrast to dads. So dads do something slightly different. So they still have that empathy. So if they hear if dad hears their child crying, or anybody else's child crying for that matter, they'll feel that empathy. They'll feel that affection towards that child. But instead of that nurturing kind of, it'll be okay, what the dad does is turn the child out into the world in order to face challenge. So they push the developmental boundaries, and I think that it's probably got something to do with this really ancient play circuit. So children will naturally seek out dads to be their play partners. So they'll naturally run to dads. And I think that there's a truism there. We always kind of know that, dad's messing around, playing with the kids, and mum's, through in the kitchen, looking after dinner or whatever. But there's a kind of reason for it. So dads have that position within the family to encourage this play, this joyful rough and tumble play, so that kids learn how to build these social interactions. That's kind of part of their job within this dynamic. So if you go on again, Chris. So I just wanted to kind of give a little bit of of background to my thinking about the family adventure and where we are at the moment, and this notion of play and this really ancient part of our brain, which is really playful, and it's the way that we learn naturally, and that dads have a really fundamental part to play in that process. And now I want to go back to what started our development of the family adventure. So during lockdown, we go out to dads every year and ask how they're doing. And during the lockdown, we went out to dads and asked them how they were doing several times during the first lockdown and the second lockdown, and then last November. And we're currently doing another dad survey at the moment to try and understand what dads are doing at home, what they're doing at work, all that kind of stuff. But one of the questions that we ask is, what do dads really love doing with their kids? What is it that they love doing? And this is what they told us. So this is from, I think, 2021. I think this is from the last survey that we did in November. And as you can see right at the top is just spending time together. Dads want to spend time with their kids. But even more than that, dads want to spend time with their kids outdoors. They want to spend time outdoors playing around. They want to play sports. As you can see, that's sort of 30%. So a third of dads want to play outdoors with their kids. They want to play sports. They want to do fun things. You know, so as you can see down the side, exploring outside in the woods, adventure play parks, beaches, and watching their children grow more confident and imaginative as a result. So you can almost see what's happening in the brain research being reflected in what dads are actually telling us on the ground here. So dads love to play and take part in sport, building dens, playing with Lego, kitchen discos with the youngest child, you know, all that kind of irreverent, rough and tumble stuff. You know, trying to stop her dancing on the table, all that kind of stuff. So you can kind of get a sense that that's what they want to do. So if you go on to the next slide. Thanks, Chris. So as I said, the very first iteration of the summer adventure was called the Summer Dadventure, and it was based on the idea of Indiana Jones. So we kind of had this idea that the kids and the dads would go off outside and they go and have fun together, and there was going to be these 10 things that you could do during the summer, and we'd make it into a competition, and you know, all the kids to have good fun. And we learned quite a lot from doing it. We did it really, really fast. So we got we understood that dads were going out into the world during the pandemic and during lockdown, and they're really enjoying their time outside with their kids. And so we put this together really, really fast. Within about a month, we got this out and then started interacting with dads. But it wasn't terribly successful, actually. So we didn't get as much take up as we'd liked. But we did get some dads. If you can go on to the next slide, Chris. We did get some dads interacting with this. And this is one of our star dads, Brian, with his daughter, Lottie, who participated in all of our activities. And he won our award in the end and got a prize. So that's Brian and Lottie, who participated in all this stuff. But we could kind of see the benefit of it, even though it didn't work too well in the first year. We could kind of see, oh, there's something in this. There's something really good in this. And so the next year we thought, okay, well, we need a little bit more lead-in time. We need a little bit more time to develop this. And so we got in touch with the Children's Parliament. So during 2021, it was Year of the Childhood. I'm sure you all remember that. We're still in lockdown. And we also got in touch with the Scottish Book Trust. So we work with the Scottish Book Trust quite a lot to make sure that the books that they choose are father friendly and they're including dads. And so we worked together with the Children's Parliament and the Scottish Book Trust, and actually laterally with the Scottish Government, who had this Get Into Summer campaign as well, to get dads going out into the great outdoors, playing with their kids, re-bonding with their families. So where it had been really hard during lockdown, just to reform those bonds within the families, just to have fun, a little bit of learning in the summer holidays to stop this summer slide. And so we did that, and it was really, really successful, actually. So if you can go on, Chris. There we go. So this is what it looked like. So we had 7 weeks, and that's the front page of the second adventure. So there are 2 pages of adventures for each week of the summer holidays, and we did a load of social media campaigning round about it. So we did lots of cross organisational campaigning. So the Scottish Book Trust was putting out information in the Children's Parliament, and all of our network of organisations that support us were highlighting what we were doing. And we had lots and lots of dads visiting our website and downloading our resources, and hopefully going out into the world with their kids and taking some of these ideas and just having fun with their kids. So every week we had a different theme. So the first week, as you can see, was space, and then the second week was animals and wildlife. The third week was under the sun, and so on and so forth. So it was a real success. And so we're now on to this year. So Chris, if you can go forward. So as ever, we're pretty busy, Chris and I. We're quite a small organisation, and these things usually happen at a bit of a pace. So literally, these are some of the sketches that I was developing about 2 weeks ago. So my background is in art many, many moons ago. So I still like drawing cartoons. So when I'm not doing director stuff, this is the sort of thing that I like to do on the couch at night, is draw these little cartoons. So these are some of the little characters that I drew for our adventure this year. So you can see my sketches on the left-hand side, and these are the coloured in sketches. So these form part of our marketing campaign and part of the books, part of that fun activity. But they're supposed to all be a bit irreverent, and really fun, So there's the giraffe with his tongue out, and there's a chameleon that's burping, and all that kind of stuff. Stuff that's supposed to appeal to kids and not be too formal, not to be too staid. So that was the idea. So Chris, if you can go on again. So this is what it looks like. So this is Adventure 3 of this year. So the idea is, so we've expanded from 2 pages into 3 pages this year. So the idea is very much that they're really, really small little activities, and they're supposed to be a kernel of an idea for families to sort of expand on. So it's giving them like just a little, why not try this? It's not giving them too much screeds and screeds of information about what to do or how to do it. It's just an idea. It's something for a family to get hold of and go, you know what, I quite fancy doing that. Or, maybe not that, but I do quite fancy doing that. What do you, maybe it'll start a conversation with a kid or, the family to go, well, what do you fancy doing today? But sort of part of the decision making over the activities that we've chosen is that they were all low cost or free. So there's virtually nothing in here that or every activity in here should be accessible to pretty much every family in Scotland, we hope. So the first page is these 3 activities. So this is an example. So bake a cake and take it on a picnic. So whether that's fairy cakes that everyone will enjoy, or, if you want to be a bit adventurous, how about carrot cake? What about a courgette cake? So it's kind of just, it's getting people to think about new fun things that they can do. And on the back of that, so if you're going on a picnic with your kids, how about doing something fun? How about an Olympics game? How about a bit of flip-flop kicking, or an egg and spoon race, or some sort of race that you can tie into that activity so you can make more out of it? So it's really just about having these fun ideas, fun activities that you can do. So the other one was make a mud kitchen, as you can see. So just stuff that you'd have lying about the house. It doesn't need to be, you don't need to buy anything. All this stuff is available. You can go out and make a mud pie. You can go and pick up petals and leaves and decorate your cake and all that kind of stuff. It should be super, super accessible to everyone. So if you go on then, Chris. And then the last page, really, we don't know it all. I certainly do not know it all. So the idea of this sort of last page in the activity book for each week is just other resources that are available. So whether it's the BBC or Play Scotland or Parent Club or Scottish Wildlife Trust or, I don't know, Marine Conservation Society or the WWF. All of these places have got amazing resources for kids. And for us, it's about signposting to this other stuff and making the most out of that theme for the week. And as I said, this year, again, we've teamed up with the Scottish Book Trust and the Book Bugs. So every week we have books that parents and kids can read along together. And also on this back page, we've got read-alongs with the book. So The Runaway Pea, which I think was in the Book Bugs book last year. It's so funny. It's a really, really great little story. But they have videos of read-alongs. So if your literacy isn't that great, then you can bring that up on your computer and read it along together. You know, there's someone to read along with you, or you can get an idea of what the book's like and then go to your library and pick it up. So it's a way of kind of trying before you buy. And also, just if they've got kind of compilations of books around a theme, you know, so books to cuddle up to. So if you've got like a nice hot chocolate or something like that you want to cozy up and you want some ideas for a lovely book to read along to it, that's the sort of thing that the Book Bugs or Scottish Book Trust have got on their site. So there you go. If you can go on to the next one, Chris. So I'm going to hand over to Chris now, who has got a background in education. So he'll talk a little bit about this.
Thanks, Kathy. So I think it's... Sorry, I'm just going to have to turn my volume down there. So yeah, why is this important to schools? It's important to schools. It's important to partners in family work or community learning and development. All that different type of all that entire kind of field of work where we're trying to support children and families. We know that the summer holidays can be a really difficult time for lots of families. I mean, you know that. It's 6 weeks, sometimes 7 weeks, where there is a kind of, you know, there's that lack of consistency and structure that we get from being involved with school or nursery or whatever it happens to be. And quite often during the summer holidays, some children can suffer, I guess, from what we call the holiday learning slip. So the first few weeks when children go back to school or to nursery, a lot of staff in those environments are kind of having to sort of backtrack a little bit and sort of a little bit of 3 steps forward, 2 steps back from what's been lost during the summer in terms of some children just really not engaging in constructive activity during the holidays. It's obviously a very tough time as well for a lot of families in terms of the pressures that families are under, especially now in relation to food and fuel and so on, the cost of living. And again, you know, this isn't something that's going to solve any of these issues. However, I think that it is really an opportunity for parents, for children, families to take part in something that, as Kathy says, comes at no cost. We're inviting parents, we're encouraging parents to kind of get involved and do the simple things that are within reach. So use the outdoors, go down to the library during the holidays, it's free and so on. And again, this is for all family members, but I mean, I suppose play is something that we can kind of undermine sometimes, or not undermine, but undervalue. And certainly, not every dad, but for lots of dads, the play bit is something that comes a bit more naturally. And so maybe, again, it's appealing to something that they're confident in. For some parents, though, obviously play is something that they're maybe not that confident in. And again, this is a really good way to kind of support parents, to support families, to give them ideas and think about simple little things that they can do to engage with their children. Yeah, I think that's it. I think that's our... I don't want to say too much more because we're obviously spent a bit longer than we expected because of the technical difficulties earlier. But yeah, I think I'll stop sharing now, and I don't know if anyone has any questions for Kathy or myself in relation to the resource.
Thanks, Chris. That was really, really helpful. And Kathy, it was great to have you back with us in the end. if anyone has any questions, what they could do is you've got the wee hand function, or you can put a wee question at the side. I was really interested in the last bit that you were talking about in relation to the summer slide, because we do know that is a thing. Oh, Margaret, let me see. I don't know if you want to unmute, Margaret, if you get anything you wanted to add to that.
Not really. It's just I know I recognise some names and I can see some people that are here from Aberdeen. It's just that we do run the Aberdeen Reads Challenge, which is an all ages reading challenge, and it's open to everyone. We would love children and families to take part. People can read together as a family, or they can take part as an individual or as a group. So we'd happily be delighted for it. The more people that join in, the better. The theme this year is the world tour, and it's featuring our mascot Library Bear on his travels. So for every book read or challenge completed, Library Bear will travel 20 miles further around the world. So it's great fun to get involved in, and we do promote, do have links on our website to other external agencies like Parent Club and so on, and Scottish Book Trust, and yeah, just want to encourage people to take part in that. I'll post the link to the webpage.
Mm-hmm. There's maybe an avenue to cross-post some of these free things as well, for those families that are maybe looking for some outdoor learning or some additional resources. Dawn, I don't know if you want to come in and unmute yourself. You've got a question about how it can be put on your platform.
Hi, yeah, sorry. It was just really a question for Chris to say, you know, I think it's a great resource. It looks really user-friendly, and I'd be keen to link this in with our Get Into Summer Angus provision this year and just make use of it. I suppose the only other thing I would think about would be the fact that we have, we've been doing a bit of work around engaging with dads and how we can get better at engaging with dads. And one of the things that it highlighted with us was a lot of male role models in children's lives don't necessarily refer to themselves as a dad, and that would be something that I think maybe worth thinking about as dad type figure or male role model, something like that, that would mean that it would be maybe a little bit more enticing for people who weren't actually the dad, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's a really good point, and it's one that we did take on last year. As Kathy said, it was called Summer Dadventure, but it's just now called Summer Adventure. And I guess it really, I suppose, when we talk about Dads and Fathers Network, we don't really mean one type of dad. We're talking about the social father, you know. So whatever shape families come in, you know, it's whether it's two mums, two dads, or a family friend, or a stepdad, or a grandparent, whatever. This is really just resources like this are designed to try and get everybody interested and everybody involved. I guess what Kathy was talking about was, in particular, as you know, whatever the other kind of parent figures might refer to themselves as, we know that it can be a bit more difficult to get parents sometimes beyond the sort of mum to engage in stuff. And what we found during lockdown especially was that the whole kind of using the outdoors, play, hands-on stuff, that's where a lot of those other parents really kind of thrived, and that's what they told us. So I guess that's, yeah, you're absolutely right. It's not, we're not just thinking about dads, we're thinking about everyone really with this. I mean, I can imagine it being a great resource for, you know, there'll be plenty of grandparents doing a lot of babysitting over the summer, you know, and it's you know, it's a great thing for them to get their hands on. So yeah.
Brilliant. I'll be really happy to share that on our platform and hopefully spread the good news with other carers, which would be great.
No, yeah, well, I mean, that's it. It's no longer Dadventure, it's family adventure. So whatever folks' families look like, that's it, you know. It's for everyone, really.
Yeah, it's probably is worth mentioning. Obviously, we're called Fathers Network Scotland, so that's, I guess, our particular the prism through which we look at. But it's really important to say that the family adventure is absolutely for families. It's not specifically for dads. It's for anybody who's playing with kids, essentially. And and all of the content within it is for families. It's definitely, it's not dad specific at all. It's for anybody who is in the family around that child or those children, So it's about bringing people, it really is about bringing people together, and whatever that family is, that whole family is, that's what it's for. So yeah, it's absolutely non-specific.
And I think even for practitioners that are potentially working with children who are in care, it is definitely a resource that can adapt itself in that setting as well, I think. So what we'll do is we can send out the presentation, and the presentation will have a link to the resources.
I can probably send you that separately as well as a PDF but the other thing that we'll be doing is a lot of marketing throughout the summer. So every week we'll drop a new adventure. So this week has happened. So Friday we did Go Wild, which is quite exciting. So if you go to our website, you'll see that there's a blog post with our first adventure on there. And we're doing sort of fun gifts and fun things on social media. So every week of the summer holiday, we'll introduce a new activity. But I know probably as practitioners, what you'll want is the full pack. So all 7 adventures all at the same time. So we don't have that currently on our website because we're dripping it out. But what I can do is I'll send that through to Education Scotland, and they can send that out to you as a pack, as a PDF, so you can see it all and just have it as one activity pack essentially for the whole summer, if that's helpful to you. But otherwise, just point people in the direction of our website, and it's on the blog on our front page. And keep an eye on our social media as well.
Whatever you want us to send out, we will certainly forward that on. So whatever's the best way. Sylvia, you had mentioned sending it out to the parent councils.
Yeah, I just think it's quite good to share the resources that are there, to try and I think it's quite helpful. Parent councils also have their own kind of social media platforms, so even if the schools are closed, it's still good to share it with them, and they can then kind of obviously pass it out to wider parent forum. And as they were saying, it's not just for fathers, it's for families. So it's just looking at the whole family approach there. I think it's a good opportunity to also to promote the Fathers Network too. I think we should be doing that more. I think it's quite good to kind of have the father's voice and have a father's presence as well.
Thank you.
Excellent. Okay, so Caroline, I think you were just sharing some of the stuff that you are doing in Aberdeen City. I always need to say Aberdeen City or Aberdeenshire. I don't know if you want to say anything more about that.
No, it's just like, it's just kind of advising you what we're planning to do. We've got, I'm the lead for outdoor learning. I've got a forest school and a coastal leader qualification. So, we do quite a lot of kind of outdoor learning with families already. And we managed to get a wee bit of funding. So, as I say, one of the exciting things we're doing in the summer is some residentials with families, which we'll use Colin for as a coastal related project. And we have got some dads coming on those trips with their children, which is going to be quite interesting and quite useful. We're also going to be trying to develop further some dads family work. And one of my colleagues who's here, Ewan, he's here, one of family learning staff, he's going to be kind of looking at doing something around that to maybe develop some bits and pieces. And again, I think outdoors lends itself really well, for anything to do with dads. I mean, certainly our coastal project, our sessions on the beach we've been running with families, the dads really get involved in that and really enjoy the play stuff that we do. So, yeah. So, yeah, it's all good.
They're biologically driven too, I think.
Now, Caroline, you have a very interesting background. Yeah. Your outdoor learning appears to be in the Stranger Things other world?
Yeah, my background is I just had my office because I was in another meeting where I had to get rid of my background, and This is my picture I choose is coming the wrong way round. Sorry.
No, it looks brilliant. It looks great.
But it's probably worth, I mean, it would be great actually if you choose to use this with your families or share it with your families, any feedback that you get. As I said, it's been a really iterative process for us, you know, and it will continue to iterate over time. And we always want to learn more. So if you've got anything that you want to tell us about, anything that you think we could improve, anything like that, we'd really appreciate, you know, any feedback that you've got, anything that you think we've got wrong or you think we've got right would be really great. Actually, it would be really useful to hear your feedback because you're on the ground working with families day to day. So, you know, any information that we can gain from you guys working with families would be brilliant.
And they can contact you direct, Kathy, Chris, just if they've got anything that's fed back from the families.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm quite happy to have my email, and I'm sure Chris is the same, sent out to all the people who are here today. I'm, you know, more than happy. I think Chris is away on holiday for a couple of weeks, but I'm around.
So Dawn so I think some people are okay with the release dates being a kind of ongoing process because each, you know, activity is kind of different. However, I know that Chris is maybe coming in to talk about the fact that schools are obviously finishing up this week for their summer holidays. So Chris is asking if all of it could be shared with schools in advance of the holiday break so that the families that they're in contact with are getting all of it rather than just like one or two that's probably coming out. Chris, I don't know if you want to, if you've got links with the schools or...
Yeah, I mean, certainly in my role, I would often sort of send out information on things that are going on over the summer holidays that families could sign up for instance, or just utilise. And I guess, it's just kind of the ticking clock factor was in my head. You know, maybe in the future it'd be a way we could prepare families like, oh, if you follow these guys on Facebook and they're going to be doing this on a weekly basis. So I could certainly do it that way as well. But I guess just to almost maximise people's access to it, I did wonder, can I send out all 6 to the schools and say, this is a resource that this organisation have put together. It looks really great. I'd sort of highlight, obviously, although the focus has been on fathers, it's something we would think that all parents could use and carers, and then just sort of make it available to the maximum amount of people. So I just wanted to check you were okay with me doing so, and it wasn't kind of taking away from your sort of weekly engagement you might have been looking for through the Facebook.
I think, to be honest with you, I mean, I'm sure Chris is probably the same. So for me, and for Chris probably, the bottom line is we want as many parents as possible, as many families to access this stuff as possible. So whether it's as a job lot altogether or as separate, you know, stumble across on social media every week, it doesn't make any odds to me. What's important is that there's this resource that's available to families to have fun and get out and enjoy the summer. So yeah, absolutely, I have no problem at all sending it out as a complete resource.
I think I'd be really appreciated, certainly at my side of things, and I would sort of highlight on it that, you know, you can engage on a weekly basis via your guys' Facebook page and everything like that, and people can put up what they've been doing, and that might be a way to try and maintain their sort of paying attention to your side of things as well, hopefully.
Yeah, absolutely. But as I said, you know, the important thing for me is just that dads are downloading. So what I'll do probably is I'll have a separate page. So we have our blog post on our web page, which will have a new update every week, essentially. But what I'll do is I'll have a kind of slightly hidden page that you can still access, but I'll send you a link to that. So you could just download it all from this slightly hidden page. So it'll all be there and you can share it. So
thank you.
I'll get onto that straight away.
If you could get it, probably I'm thinking, Chris, it will be before Friday, but we'd probably want to get that. Maybe, I don't know if it's putting stress on you, Kathy, if we could get it for like Wednesday.
I'll get it. Honestly, it's all kind of set up and ready to go. I think all I need to do is upload the full PDF pack onto the website, and it should be set. So probably tomorrow morning, actually.
Oh, that would be super. And then I can get it out tomorrow afternoon then.
Yeah, no problem at all.
Perfect. Okay, so we have Tim. I'll let Beverly know. She had to dip out a wee bit earlier, so I'll let Beverly know that you're interning. So hello. I think we probably haven't met you yet. We've got 3 minutes left. Does anyone have any other questions for Chris or Kathy? I think you've answered everyone's questions. That's good. Now I'm going to hand over to you two if there's anything that you wanted, some last minute things that you wanted to say before we, I don't know if it's sunny everywhere, but it's quite sunny here, so I don't want to keep anybody past 5 o'clock.
I just wanted to thank everyone. I was really surprised by the number of people who signed up today, and it's such short notice actually. And we do a huge amount at FNS very quickly, it seems. And this is a bit of a sprint to the end. But I'm just so grateful for you taking time out your busy schedules to come along and say hi and engage with us. And hopefully you'll be able to see the whole pack and enjoy it at your leisure, really, and have a good read through. And as I said, honestly, we're completely open to comments and improvements. So if you've got anything that you want to share with us, please. It might be a bit too late this year, but again, we'll probably do it again next year, and we're looking to do other seasonal resources as well. So we're looking at doing a winter one and a Easter one. So yeah, it'll really help us in that development. And if you want to participate somehow, just let us know. We're all about partnership working, so do let us know. Where our ears will be open.
Chris, final words from you, if you've got any. I know you've got COVID, so maybe you don't have any.
I'll just cough for everyone's benefit, you know. No, I don't have anything to say just yet. Just the same as Kathy. Thanks for coming along. I suppose our website is a great resource for families too during the summer. We've got lots of we've got a directory about what's in your area and lots of information about other services that people might need. Not just dads, families too, wider families, as was said earlier. So yeah, if you signpost parents to that, then we can be a help for them during the 7 weeks when we're going insane trying to look after our own children. You know?
Well, I would like to thank Chris and Kathy for this session. I'm always delighted to set up sessions where people are presenting free resources for families, because families, all of us are under a bit of pressure right now with the cost of living, so anything that can support learning during the summer but is also free, then I am 100% behind it. So thank you guys for providing such a rich document. And thanks to everyone for spending your time with us, sharing your own journeys. And I wish you all a nice summer, a relaxing summer. And we'll be energised for August again, I'm sure.
Thanks ever so much.
Take care, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.